Hello again, and welcome to the Master's Voice. I'm Celestial, and you are welcome to this channel. To old and new subscribers alike, you are very welcome. The website for this channel is www.the-masters-voice.com. This is where you can find all prophecies for the Master's Voice. Every video that you are watching has an original prophecy received from the Lord Jesus Christ written down at that website with a date on it. The date that's on the prophecy is the date that I received it, not the date that it was published on the blog. Here at the Master's Voice, I have been receiving the word of the Lord since 2012 until now, April 2023. So when you hear me speaking in a prophecy and I say something like, I've been saying this since 2019, it doesn't mean that I received the prophecy in 2019. 2019 was when the Lord said to me, Celestial, all these messages that I have been giving you since 2012 until now, it is time for you to put them up on a blog. And so that's when I started the Master's Voice. I started it in May 2019, and I was blogging for most of 2019, and I was blogging through all of 2020, the lockdown. And then in August 2020, the Lord said to me, Daughter, I want you to use the tools of your generation. And so that's when I started this audio visual ministry. You can find all the prophecies here from the blog. I'm working through them. I've done about 320 here on YouTube, but there's actually more of them. Some of the prophecies cannot be hosted here anymore because of YouTube censorship. And so at the end of 2022, I had to move a whole chunk of them, about 30 or 35 messages. You can find them on my alternate channels, which are on Rumble, BitChute, and Brighteon. These prophecies are being translated into Spanish. The channel is right here on YouTube. It is called La Voz del Señor. And the link for that is in the description box. In the description box, you will find a little blurb about every video. In the description box, you will find the link for the prophecy that you are watching. In the description box, you will find everything else that you need to know about this ministry. So please read carefully, and all your questions should be answered. Just want to give another update. There are scammers that are using the channel picture and the channel name and going around and promising people blessed hope and blessed prayer and personal prophecy and leaving a text number for Nigeria. Please do not click that. If you want to know if it is Celestial interacting with you, just simply look at the channel name. If there is a black or a dark gray background around it, then yes, it is I responding to your comment. And I hardly ever do that because I'm hardly ever here to be going through the comments 24 hours a day. So I'm just saying that so that you are not led astray. Wolves creep in. We see the times that we are in. We have to be discerning so that nobody takes you for a ride and nobody compromises you in any way. And so I'm just bringing that out because these people have been doing this for the last 2 years. I've deleted 35 fake versions of the channel just between January and now, and they're not likely to stop. YouTube does nothing to protect people on this platform. Honestly, I don't even know why they have a team. So we're just here in the great beyond, yourself and myself. And therefore, we have to use wisdom and we have to use discernment. So please do not let your heart lead you to start interacting with somebody who's promising you inbox prophecy. Whoever knows me knows that I absolutely do not do that. And I said that from the beginning. I am not a crystal ball to ask for personal prophecy and personal words. I do not do that because that is not why I'm here. And so today, I'm trying to catch up with the prophecies that the Lord has been giving me. The Lord has been giving me so many messages. Some of them are just informational messages where God is showing me certain things, and I've written those things down in my journal. And as I'm led by the Holy Spirit, I may share. Those things are just to let me know, Celestial FYI, but I may share those things. But some of these things are absolutely keeping in line with the kind of prophecies that God has been giving me since the start of the year, which are 100% financial based prophecies. They are 100% looking at America's future squarely in the face. And I have to say this, whether you are a new person or not, if you are a new person, you are welcome to the channel, but you have catching up to do. You are very, very, very far behind the curve. I have done a lot of teaching here. I have opened up a ton of scripture here in the messages that God has been giving to show that this prophecy channel is a little different than the others. People come here and they're very upset because they find some extremely tough messages, and they keep asking, some of them extremely angrily and belligerently and rudely, where's the hope in these messages? And how come these messages aren't balanced with hope? And for me, I'm puzzled because I don't know who taught people in America that prophecy has to be balanced with hope. I don't know where you saw that in the scripture, where every single prophecy that comes has to carry a little bit of hope. God doesn't owe anybody hope, especially when he's in the process of judging. So God isn't going to come to a nation that's aborting babies faster than I can inhale and exhale and then tell them, I've come to judge you, but there's going to be a little bit of hope afterwards. America is judged after the prophecy that is in Revelation 18. If you ever take the time to read Revelation 18, you're not going to find any hope for Mystery Babylon. The way that people give themselves artificial hope, which is sad, is to continue to deny that America is Mystery Babylon. And yet the Lord revealed these things as far back as 1984, I think, and 1973 with Pastor David Wilkerson and with Pastor Dimitri Duduman. And these people were saying these things before I was anywhere to be seen. America has already been told who she is in end times prophecy. And once you know who you are in end times prophecy, then it's really incumbent on you to accept who you are. And then the people inside Babylon need to go back and read Revelation 18 and start to say, well, there's only two types of people here. Are we the people who come out of Babylon and have a shot and make it? Or are we the people who continue to live in a fantasy bubble world and say, it's not us, it's Iraq and it's Iran and it's the Pope and it's Papa Smurf. And if you're part of team 2, well, then go team go. But here I'm speaking real life things. They are not balanced with much hope because God has wrath against America. And if you do not understand that, then there are 320 prophecies here on YouTube that will quickly disabuse you of the false notion, false picture that you may have of the red, white, and blue. And you can look deeper into the immoral abyss that this nation has become and is insisting on becoming. And I guarantee that after you've watched the 30 prophecies, especially if you watch the America Sin series, you may not be so adamant about your stance that these prophecies have to have hope. You may change your mind about whether or not this is Mystery Babylon. And one of the things that Mystery Babylon is going to be before she is completely destroyed is broke. Today's prophecy is called America Will Be Like Zimbabwe. And this is part 1 of 2 words that the Lord gave me back to back, one on April 6th and the other one the very next day after. So here's the first one, and it was basically just a short dream. On the night of April 6th, 2023, the Lord spoke to me in my sleep, and then I had a dream. And what he said before I dreamed the dream is this: a system is coming where you can't use cash at all. You can't touch it or see it or handle it by way of saving it or hoarding it or having normal transactions with it at all. You will be like Zimbabwe, who hasn't seen or handled cash in 10 years. That country lives without money now. It is all kept in the cloud. They have beast money, and they've had it for quite some time. It exists on their phones and their laptops and their bank accounts, but they do not handle money on a daily basis. Zimbabweans do not pull money into the real world to use it. They exchange it phone to phone, and they pay for services using transfers that do not involve cash. Their currency was destroyed by Zimbabwe dollar devaluation and also political and economic warfare of the Western nations against their economy. Now they have beast money, and soon you will too. And so here the Lord is saying that a system is coming to us. And by now we all know what that system is. This is the beast currency system, but we're not going to end up directly in beast currency. Just 1 minute, there's no dollar, and then we end up in the beast currency. There's going to be exactly what's happened in all the foreign countries where they've been beta testing this stuff for at least 15 years. They've been beta testing it in Africa. They've been beta testing it in South America. They've been beta testing it in Southeast Asia. At least I know that. They've been having it in the Philippines and Bangladesh and India and places like that. And this beast currency is basically where they promo a digital cloud wallet that allows you the same kind of access to goods and services as if you were paying with cash or paying with your bank card that is linked, obviously, to your financial repository, whatever bank you're using. And so what they did is they introduced this digital money as a kind of convenience. And what you do is you go to registered sellers, registered guys. Sometimes they're in a building or they're in, an establishment somewhere. But then sometimes they're just dudes sitting outside under the tree, and you just go to them and you have your phone and you give them cash. So there's still cash involved in the transaction for now. You give them some kind of cash and then they will load up. They will load up the phone. They will load up your cloud wallet with money. But in some places, you don't need to give them cash. You just pay with your bank account and then you get this thing loaded on. And so they've been giving this thing a soft debut. I always call it a beta test. A beta test is when you have a bigger plan afoot, but you need to test the reaction of that thing in a particular place. And so what you do is you find a place to do your test, and then you run the test, obviously, and then you gather data to see how is it going. And beta testing of beast currency has one motive. They want to know, will societies use this money? Will they accept this money? Will they take it in like a little lost child and say, come and be our child. You can be a part of our family. Or will they strongly reject it? And then they want to know, how easy is it to assimilate this kind of life where you don't physically handle cash into normal society? Do people buck against it? Do people say, what kind of nonsense is this? We're never giving up cash. Or do people readily accept it and make the switch? If they make the switch, how many make the switch? How fast do they make the switch? What's the demographic of people who switch? Is it the younger people only? Is it teenagers? Do working people also switch along with the kids who easily want to play with this kind of stuff? Do older people who are tech savvy switch? Or do even older people who are not tech savvy have the younger people help them and they also switch? So they're studying a lot of tangents and they're studying a lot of vectors. And that's why it takes a long time to study something that you introduce into the population for the first time, because you want to see how it goes and who takes it and who doesn't take it. So God is saying that this system is finally coming to the one place that would strongly resist it. This system is finally coming to the die-hard cash users who still carry that 20 in their boot and that 50 in their sock, and who still roll up money when they're traveling and put it in hidden places just in case they lose their wallet or lose their luggage. They're always going to have money on them in case of a crisis. Cash is definitely king here in the United States. It doesn't matter how digitized the place is. Smart people always have cash with them. If you just walk around with a card, well, then I just don't know what to tell you. And so God is saying that the time is coming now where cash is basically going to be railroaded out of this society. And we are going to be like Zimbabwe, who the Lord says has not seen or handled cash in a 10-year period, which is a very long time not to have banknotes and coins circulating in the society. Says that country has lived without money for a very long time, and they have beast money. Of course, they're not going to call it beast money. Nobody calls it beast money. Everybody calls it the digital wallet, but that is what this thing is. In 2014, when Bitcoin came out, I thought, what is this? What do you mean money in the cloud that you have to dig out? And the Lord told me, don't you worry yourself about that. That is beast money, and you should not have anything to do with it. And I said in a recent video that that's how it goes with me and God. A lot of people have been using Bitcoin and, all the Shiba coin and all the coins, and they use it and they feel that, well, I have a modicum of control over this thing because it's not really money. I'm not shopping with it. At least here in America, we do not really shop with Bitcoin Retailers don't take it, and only a few banks are getting involved with it. And so it's not something that people buy Bitcoin as an asset. And so they feel that I'm going to buy this asset and I'm going to wait for it to appreciate. And then when it goes up, then I'll go and I'll draw it out into the real world and I'll make money with it. And so during all this time, since 2014, when this thing came to my knowledge, Bitcoin may be older. I never touched it because the person who my life belongs to told me not to touch it. He told me that it belongs to the beast system. And he told me that the FBI would be sitting on the other side of it. And for me, that's more than enough information. That's way above my pay grade information. So I never touched it. And then the kindness of subscribers who always share what they know. These people are part of the only reason that I keep the comment section open. I definitely don't keep it open for the mannerless crowd that comes here. It came to my knowledge only this week that all the Bitcoin people are dead. And that the Cash App man is also dead. And that other crypto people have been mysteriously exiting out of life. And this information is staggering to me because in any other nation, we might say, wow, that's a lot of death going around. But in this nation, you would have to be willfully fooling yourself to say that these things are coincidental to the advent of our government coming out with its own version of coin, which the Lord recently was speaking about in the video called The Nascent Rise of Coin, and also the one that was saying U.S. financial crash worse than 2008. And so here we have God telling us that whatever Zimbabwe has been living with, we're now going to live in it. And that includes having no money that we can pull into the real world to use. P2P, paying for services with transfers, will be happening by the phone and the laptop and whatever else that people buy with. But it will not involve physical transactions of even loading the digital wallet with cash because that's going to be going away. So in this dream, I was just moving around the city. I was moving around New York and I got on one of these buses that is called a select bus. So a select bus is a bus that doesn't stop at every stop. The local bus will stop at every stop that you're using in the city, but the select bus will skip like 5 or 6 stops and then stop at only appointed places. So it's a really good deal if you're going further and you need to get there faster. It's a really awesome type of bus. And so I have this card that is called an OMNY. I think this came in... Were we still outside or inside? OMNY was being premiered to us in 2018. So that's, I think, when they started the advertising. The OMNY is a bus card. It is a bus card, or it is a payment system that doesn't necessarily need a card. We usually use a Metro card. So it's just a normal bus card and you swipe it on the trains and you swipe it on the buses, and that's how you go. To use your Metro card, you need to take it to a little payment station and press buttons, put it in there, and then put money, physical notes, or put coins, or use your bank card, and you put money into the machine, and then the machine transfers value on your bus card and then spits it back out to you. And then you go about your way. But OMNY has come so that you can use it on your phone, you can use it on a smartwatch, you can use it on a bank card and link your travel to that. The problem with OMNY is that when you link it that way, it automatically goes to your bank account. And so some people who will remain unnamed in this video have what is known as a disposable. A disposable, please excuse the noise. A disposable, it's very noisy. Just a moment, please. A disposable is just a throwaway gift card. You get them and they function just like a Visa card or anything else. You can get a disposable as long as it's tappable, and then you can tap it on the OMNY payment system. The OMNY payment system literally looks like the interface of some kind of scanner, you know, so it's quite a large scanner, and then you can tap your watch or tap your phone or tap your bank card, or you can tap your disposable that's not tied to your bank or not tied to anything, doesn't give any information about you. It just gets you on the bus and the train. And so I was moving around New York City and I have my OMNY with me. But because God wanted to teach me a lesson in this dream, to indicate to me a shift that is coming to us, because OMNY was quite a shift. This part is important, at least to us who live here in America. When OMNY came, they marketed it very hard here in New York City. I mean, the MTA, the Metropolitan Transport Authority, spent a ton of money on billboards and painting the inside of the buses and splashing it all across the trains, how convenient this was for us and everything. And then they premiered it, and basically nobody moved to OMNY. Nobody had time for that. Everybody is so used to taking our little card, putting it in the machine and everything. And they were offering so many incentives. If you swipe the OMNY 3 times, then we'll give you 3 rides free. And a tiny few people moved over, but the majority of us were like, yeah, whatever. And so we kept using the Metro card. And what they started doing is they started taking away the payment places. Right? So the more and more payment places you go to, you will find that they are there, but they're not so convenient and they're long lines. And they were still offering rebates and incentives for OMNY. And then they started putting OMNY, they started omnirizing everything. So all the train stations and all the buses. And then because it was more accessible and because you didn't need to fumble for a card and recharge the card and all that, more and more people started moving. But I don't even think we're at half. We still are not at half having transferred to OMNY. And so this dream is how God showed, praise his name, that everybody's going to use OMNY, at least here in New York City, whether they like it or not, because they are going to basically make it impossible for you to ever use your other card again. So I get on this bus, and instead of just using my disposable like I always do, I say to a guy sitting in the front row, hey, excuse me, sir, could you give me change? I would like change so I can quickly duck, because the bus will wait for a minute or so. I just want to duck outside and change this and reload my card. And this man was so dramatic in his response, and I guess that was just God's way of getting it through to me. He says so loudly, instead of just saying, sorry, I don't have change, miss, he goes, I don't have change. And anyway, you can't use the dollar anymore. And then we're all staring at him. And then he proceeds to take out a US dollar coin. So we have coins the same as everybody does. We've got $1, 5 cents, a dime, quarter, and a penny. So we've got that. But the coins that this man took out, all the other coins, 5 cents and the 10 cents and the 25 cents and the penny, the 1 cent, were the normal size. This man pulled out a dollar that was a literal joke. The dollar coin is just about this big. This man pulled out something this big. It was so flat. It was beaten so flat, and it was overly shiny. It was so shiny, and it was so fake looking. It looked like those large coins that you give little children and then they peel it and inside is chocolate. So he pulled out this comically huge dollar and then all the rest of the coins. And then he was holding it above his head so dramatically so that everybody in the bus could see it. And then he said, these can no longer be used to load your bus card. You can't use them anymore. The machine will not accept them. If you try to put these coins into the slot, they will fall in and they will be seized. The machine will not give you any value on your old bus card. And the machine will not give you back these coins. And the machine will still want a reload for you to use that card. And then he said the same with cash. Now he takes out a few singles. He takes out a few US dollar bills. And he said the same with cash. It will not be accepted. And it will not give you change if you use a large note. The machine will take it. And the machine will not give you back any money. You have to only use the OMNY system now. And you must upload money from your bank account in order to use the bus. So he took the old New York City Metro card, the one that I just explained that goes into the payment systems, and he tossed it into the air like this, like he was doing a magic trick. And he said, it's useless now. It is no more. You can't use it. I'm surprised you're riding this bus and you don't know that. I was looking at this man and just thinking, look at this comedian. Did he have to do all this? What happened to just saying, I don't have change? But I knew that, like I said, I knew that God was letting me know that we are about to go into yet another era of hard impacts. I spoke about hard impacts and I explained how they worked in a recent video. One of the hardest impacts that we went through here was during the COVID era. We all know the strong divide that that era brought to this nation and to most nations, but it was very pronounced here. And what happened is, if you went along with the agenda, you got all the perks. You got to go to the zoo and you got to go to the movies and you got to go into the coffee shops. And apparently, you were a better type of human being. But if you did not, all your privileges were taken away. You were treated like a pariah. You were not even able to go into a simple bistro to get chai tea if that was what you wanted when you were out and about. And this thing brought a hard impact to those who would not go along with mandates and things of that nature. So what we saw was a severe schism in the US society based on this. And the brunt of the hard impact of the policies that were in place at that time. Please remember, these policies are going to come back with a bang once they take a breather and come back with version 95 or whatever it is that they want to put on people. But anyway, once that hard impact came, the hard impact definitely fell on Team B. It definitely fell on Team B. And so God was speaking in one of these prophecies about what a hard impact is. A hard impact is where you create classes by offer. And I think it is a brilliant way that he put it. Classes by offer. This means that if you're willing to move into the system that does this and that, when you need to buy a car, all the cars are going to be constantly like 40% off for you. And when inflation not only spikes through the roof, but sets the roof on fire. And the eggs cost $30. These are examples that the Lord was giving. When the eggs cost $30 because of inflation, if you have moved to coin, the government's going to heavily subsidize the prices of eggs so that you get them at $1.50 or maybe something reasonable like $3, which is what eggs are worth. Eggs are currently selling here in New York City for like organic eggs are like close to $15, $14.99, $13.99 for 12 eggs. And so this is what's going to happen. Classes by offer says that we'll offer you this if you move to the new system. But then if you are, I guess, living redundant and you don't want to move, then you don't get to benefit from the offers. And then you will definitely find penalties. You'll pay the full price of the car. Someone else will get it 40% off. You'll pay the full price of the car, and you'll also pay all the schedule of fees, and you'll pay all the registration and all the insurance, and you'll also have penalties. You will have penalties for continuing to use the old system. And so this is what this man was basically saying, that the hard impact is coming to definitely to the transportation system here in the city, that they're going to hard impact everyone and force them to move to OMNY. But this has a wider application to the rest of the country. If MTA, who are the people that own these little booths, are going to stop taking cash and are going to stop taking coin, then what do we think Walmart is doing? When you go to Walmart at the self-service, there's not Walmart here. This is just information that I found out by doing the proper research after God is speaking these things. Walmart is starting to minimize the number of self-service tills that take cash. Self-service is you can go and have the cashier cash you out, or you can simply go to self-service, scan your own groceries, put them in a bag, and then you pay. You put your cash into the machine, or you pay with your bank card, scan it, and then that's done. But Walmart, if Walmart now has 10 tills, 8 of those tills have been programmed to say, sorry, no cash accepted. And this is not hearsay. People are putting pictures of this on social media. So I saw this firsthand. A person was trying to pay with cash, and it says this till does not accept cash. And if there's 10 of them, then 8 of them have had the option to use cash taken away. So that here's how hard impacts work in real life. Walmart usually has 50 to 100 people in line at any time. And so if you insist on being that cash guy or that cash gal, then the 50 of you that want to use cash can go and wait in a horrible long line at the only 2 machines that will take cash. And then all the other people will zip right through because they're all scanning with, I don't know, their neck, whatever it will be in the future. And basically, that's what God is showing. Said, this is the significance of what he said before I had the dream, that America will be like Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is a country that doesn't handle cash in the hand anymore. And the current financial system that we have relies fully on cash and cards, bank accounts, guaranteed user privacy. You've got the old ATM that you can go and stand out at 4 a.m. in the morning if you want to and withdraw your own money. You have the luxury of PIN numbers and privacy. All of that is going away, because what privacy is there with FedNow now being the cushioned layer between every purchase that you make in your bank? If you want to buy something online, it is no longer between you that has the desire to purchase, and then you take your card and inform the bank, pay for this, and then the bank sends the money to the vendor. Now it's the bank. Money goes through FedNow to the vendor. So everything is being logged, cataloged. And I've always said, for people who insist on, oh, the demons can't read your mind. I'm not trying to lift up demons, but how difficult is it when the government is going to actually know what kind of personal feminine products you buy? What's going to be hard for demons who have access to the spiritual realm and a ton of other things that we as people don't fully understand? Even the government's going to know who we are in just a few short months, because all this is rolling out on July 1st, from my understanding. And so all of this, the Lord says, is going to go away. America will one way or another be taken, legged, or dragged, or if necessary, railroaded into the digital beast currency system. And this is a system of money that exists exclusively in the cloud. This is money that is fully visible to the government to monitor and, if need be, control. You want to get a brand new set of, rifles and hollow points, and then there's just this decline, and you think, oh, I've got money on this card, and you decline, and then, no, there's money here, and you try again, declined, and now they flagged you because you tried 3 times to get those exploding bullets, and they want to know, who is this? Who are you, Earl? Shopping for exploding bullets. Don't you know that bullets are dangerous to the Republic? And so, the thing that I realized about this massive coin dollar that this man had is that God was showing the dollar 5 times bigger because of inflation. That's why it was a huge thing. Instead of a small coin, 5 times bigger than it's supposed to be, and also looking totally fake, like toy money, because that's where inflation is going to take us. He said that the U.S. will lose the right to have a defining dollar market, just like what happened in Zimbabwe. Inflation and other ill-advised financial and monetary policy will make the U.S. dollar struggle so much that it's going to fall, and the U.S. dollar will no longer be that world-famous sign that represents strong money everywhere. Instead, it will be usurped. That means the legs will be cut out from under it, and then eventually totally overtaken by digital currency. And this digital currency has its own logo. I cannot describe this logo. I always see it in my dreams. It is a gold logo. It may not be gold when it comes out in real life, but it looks gold on a black background. And it's always turning slowly, the way they turn cars when they're marketing it to you so that you can buy one. I can never remember what the logo of that digital money looks like, but I've been seeing it for a while. And so the Lord is saying that as America continues to transform in the ways that I have described here, these changes will be legally supported. So it's been for years that I've been saying, whenever people come, I don't think that the majority of people understand what prophecy is. And it's unfortunate because this far in, 4 years in, there is absolutely no way that I'm going back to the beginning to teach what prophecy is, because I have seen and discerned and understood that people don't actually care what it is. What people care about is their opinion. What people care about is what they think about what I'm saying. And the idea that I am going to sit and work to make you come out of your unbelief is a strange and misguided one. because I said from the very beginning that I am not here to make you believe anything. I'm here to tell you what will be. And then you on the other side of the camera are going to have to work through it, either with the Holy Spirit, or you can work through it with your ego and opinion. That's an option. But whatever happens, unbelief on the other side of the camera will not affect any reality that I'm speaking here. The reality is here with me in these words. So on this side is God's opinion and what God says will happen. And the only choice that we have on that side, a choice that I have fully embraced on this side, is to listen to what the Holy Spirit is saying and to seek him from the core of our beings, to ask him, how do we live in an economy without money? How do we live in an economy that is monitored? The Lord has said here many times that if you have friends from the former Soviet Union, it's time to start talking to them, because they will tell you how wisdom helps people to live in socialist and communist and monitored, and if you breathe funny, will shoot you economies. Why don't you ask these people, if you know them, how did you cope under regime government? Now that we know that the Wall Street Journal will not be able to save us in the future, because the Wall Street Journal people are going to throw down their pens and act like they were farmers their whole lives and they never wrote a single article, and they're going to act like they don't know anything about anything. They're not going to die for you. So now that they won't be there with the bravado and the articles they wrote that angered all the other people outside, the other people who will be coming in the future to cause harm here, now that they've caused a mess and will totally disavow everything that they have done, what choices are left to the discerning Christian male and female? Is it still to come after all this time and to try and make yourself feel good and feel that several hundred videos were created just because I have the time to mislead you and fool you? Is that really wisdom and logic and knowledge working together? Or could there be something else that God is seeking to draw out of the hearts of people in this nation, so that even though he has said his judgment is set, the posture of a person's heart will pull out of God what that individual needs to have hope. Hope is not owed, but there is a posture that a person can adopt that will cause God to say things to that person that will give that person and their family hope. And so they're going to change the laws to support the things that they're doing. Just a moment, please. They're going to change the laws and then make legal the illegal things that they're doing, because that's what the beast system is like. And so we will lose the right to have money in person, hard cash, bank cards, even the right to do work on the side. This is just person to person. You know, can you do this for me? And I'll spot you this. I'll give you like 200 if you do this. And the person goes, yeah, sure. I've got free time. When you have completely digitized, completely monitored money, then there's no side jobs. There's no, when your sink breaks down and you know that the guy next door used to be a plumber before he retired, you're not going to be able to get him in to do this work because you're not going to have cash to pay him. This is stuff that people just, people just do, neighborly stuff, or they just do side hustles or whatever. All this stuff is going to go away, and it's going to be a very structured and well-watched society. And so the Lord is showing us that the same no money policy that Zimbabwe has been living with for over a decade is coming to the United States. And prophecies that you can look at to understand that process are called meltdown of the banking system, the nascent rise of coin, economic crash worse than 2008, and the iron gods. The Lord has been saying these things for a very long time. The fact that they are just being published now doesn't mean that he hasn't been saying them. It just means that the blog has gone live at a certain time, and we're approaching the birthing of these things. That's why I keep coming back with the same prophecy. I've shared with people here that if I keep saying the same thing over and over, it is not by choice. And if you notice, even if it is the same thing, it is always materially different from the last one. He will always turn the same issue around and show us another angle. This angle, to me, is showing that hard impact policies are coming to force people to shift, whether they want to shift or not. And the prophecy that I will make after this will show yet another angle and cement this part as well. So this is Celestial with the Master's Voice. God bless you. God keep you. God make his face shine upon you and give you peace. Until I see you again, goodbye.